"You're too dumb to even check the property records," Marcus said with a smirk, tossing his keys on the kitchen counter with a loud clink. "Amanda and I have owned this house for weeks. Pack your stuff, you're out." I stood at the sink, calmly washing dishes while my husband of 12 years bragged about giving our family home to himself and his 26-year-old girlfriend. The same house we bought 5 years ago, with my inheritance. Nothing to say. He pushed, annoyed that I wasn't crying or begging. No tears. No fight. I dried my hands, turned around, and smiled. "No, Marcus, no tears, but you might want to check those records again. My name is Olivia Parker, and I'm 38 years old. I was watching my marriage fall apart, but I wasn't surprised. I saw the signs a long time ago, the late nights, secret texts, locked phone. The biggest red flag was when he suddenly got interested in the deed to our house. "Where's the house deed?" he asked one morning, acting casual. "The bank needs it." I knew then he was up to something. I've worked in real estate law for 15 years. Banks don't randomly ask for deeds. That night, I made some important phone calls. Now, as Marcus stood there looking proud, I thought about my conversation with my friend Thomas, who works at the county records office. "Someone's asking about your property," he told me. "Looks like they're trying to change the deed." I didn't say anything to Marcus. I just acted quietly. While he thought he was being smart, I was already protecting myself. "You know what's funny?" I said, leaning on the counter. "For a guy who says he's so smart with business, you missed a big detail." His smile faded. "What are you talking about? Did you even read what you forged, or did you just think it would work out your way?" His face turned serious. "I don't know what you think you know, but the house is in my name now. Amanda and I are moving in next week. You're leaving." I pulled out my phone, opened a photo, and slid it across the counter to him. "Look at this first." His hands shook as he picked up the phone. On the screen was a certified copy of the real house records, not the fake ones he filed. His face changed from confused to shocked. This can't be right," he said. I changed. "You tried to change it," I said. "But 3 months ago, I filed a protection order. You can't change the deed without both our signatures. Your forgery triggered alerts." He went pale. "You knew." "I've known for months, Marcus. About Amanda, about your plan to steal the house. Everything. I just wanted to see how far you'd go." I took my phone back, calm and clear. "By the way, what you did is illegal. The district attorney has the documents you filed." He gripped the counter, his knuckles white. "You're bluffing." "Am I?" I pulled out another paper, a complaint I filed with the police, including proof of his fake documents. "Did you forget I've worked in property law for 15 years? Did you really think I wouldn't protect myself?" He started pacing, running his hands through his hair. I'd seen that nervous habit too many times. "This isn't happening," he whispered. "Amanda and I had it all planned." "Oh, Amanda," I said, letting a bit of anger show. "How is the new paralegal? Did she tell you about her past, trying to take property from the last 2 men she dated? Or did you miss that part of her resume?" He froze. "What are you talking about?" "You should have done some research. Amanda has a history. The police already have files on her." Months ago, his reaction might have hurt me. Now it only proved what I already knew. He gave up 12 years of marriage for someone using him the same way he tried to use me. "Olivia," he began, voice smaller now. "We can talk." "No, Marcus, we can't. You made your choice when you tried to steal my home and move your girlfriend in. Now you live with the consequences." I picked up my purse and placed a business card in front of him. "My lawyer's number. Talk to her. Don't contact me again." As I walked to the door, Marcus called after me, panicked. "Where are you going?" I turned back. "I'm going home. You know, the house that's still legally mine. The police will be here in 20 minutes to talk about your little scam. I'd start packing if I were you." As I closed the door behind me, I heard the keys fall from his hands. Reality had finally hit him. He thought he could outsmart me and take everything. Instead, he was about to learn a hard lesson. I sat in my car, hands steady on the wheel, and smiled just a little. This wasn't the end. It was the beginning of Marcus's downfall. And I was ready. The next morning, I sat across from my lawyer, Sophia Martinez, reviewing the evidence against Marcus. The conference room table was covered with documents, property records, bank statements, and screenshots of Marcus's attempts to modify the deed. The DA's office is taking this very seriously, Sophia said, sorting through some papers. Attempted property fraud, forgery, illegal transfer of assets. Marcus is looking at significant charges. I nodded, watching the city skyline through the office windows. The police had arrived at the house last night exactly when I said they would. Marcus, still in shock, had barely managed to string together coherent responses to their questions. They'd taken him in for questioning, and according to Sophia, he'd spent the night trying to contact Amanda. Has she responded to any of his calls? I asked, though I already knew the answer. Sophia shook her head, a knowing smile on her face. Amanda disappeared the moment she heard about the police involvement. Apparently, she's done this before. Gets involved with wealthy married men, encourages them to transfer property to her name, then vanishes when things get complicated. And Marcus fell for it completely, I said, feeling a mix of pity and satisfaction. He really thought he could just push me aside and start a new life with her. My phone buzzed. Another message from Marcus's sister, Emma. Unlike the rest of his family, who'd immediately taken his side, Emma had reached out to offer support. Just saw Marcus, her text read. He's a mess. Keeps saying he didn't know Amanda's history. Mom's furious that he's ruined the family name. I set the phone aside as Sophia pulled out another document. Marcus's lawyer called this morning, she said. They want to discuss a settlement. Already? I raised an eyebrow. That was fast. They know they don't have a leg to stand on. The evidence is overwhelming, and with Amanda's history coming to light, they're desperate to minimize the damage. I thought about the past few months, all the nights I'd spent gathering evidence, documenting every suspicious move, preparing for this moment. Marcus had been so focused on his affair that he hadn't noticed his wife quietly building an ironclad case against him. What are they offering? I asked. Sophia handed me the proposal. He'll plead guilty to a lesser charge, agree to a divorce settlement heavily in your favor, and make a public statement taking full responsibility. And in return, we don't pursue maximum charges and we keep Amanda's name out of the public record. I almost laughed. Even now, Marcus was trying to protect his mistress, not realizing she was probably halfway across the country by now, looking for her next target. Tell them no deal, I said firmly. Marcus didn't just try to steal my house. He betrayed every promise he ever made to me. I want him to face the full consequences. Sophia nodded, looking pleased. I thought you might say that. The DA's office is ready to proceed with all charges. Just then, my phone buzzed again, this time with a news alert. My stomach tightened as I read the headline. Prominent business executive arrested for property fraud. There was Marcus's company photo right next to an article detailing his attempted theft and relationship with a known fraudster. Well, Sophia said, reading over my shoulder, I guess the story's out now. The rest of the day passed in a blur of meetings and phone calls. Marcus's company placed him on immediate leave pending investigation. His carefully cultivated reputation was crumbling, and the whispers about Amanda's history were spreading through their social circle like wildfire. That evening, as I drove home, I passed by our favorite restaurant, the place where Marcus had proposed 12 years ago. I thought about the young, ambitious man I'd fallen in love with, and wondered when he turned into someone capable of such calculated betrayal. My phone rang through the car's Bluetooth. It was Emma again. Marcus tried to access your joint accounts, she said without preamble. He's panicking, Olivia. Says Amanda isn't returning his calls, and his lawyer's telling him he could face serious jail time. He should have thought about that before he tried to steal my house. I replied, pulling into my driveway. I know, Emma sighed. I never thought you'd do something like this. Mom's talking about canceling the annual family Christmas party. Said she can't face the neighbors after this scandal. After saying goodbye to Emma, I sat in my car for a moment, looking at the house Marcus had tried to take from me. The home we'd chosen together, the one I bought with money my grandmother left me. He'd been so certain I wouldn't fight back, so convinced of his own cleverness. My phone buzzed one last time, a text from an unknown number. Olivia, please. We need to talk. I can explain everything. Marcus, probably using a friend's phone since I blocked his number. I deleted the message without responding. There would be plenty of time for talking in court, where Marcus would have to explain his actions not just to me, but to a judge. For now, I had a house to redecorate and a new life to plan. One that didn't include a husband who thought he could discard me like yesterday's news. The security lights clicked on as I walked to my front door, illuminating the path ahead. Tomorrow would bring more challenges, more legal meetings, more revelations about Marcus's betrayal. But for tonight, I was home, safe in the knowledge that I protected what was mine. And somewhere out there, Marcus was finally learning that some lessons come at a very high price. 6 months after Marcus's failed attempt to steal our house, I sat in a courtroom watching him receive his sentence. The judge, a stern-faced woman in her 60s, looked down at him with clear disapproval. "Mr. Parker, attempting to fraudulently transfer property and forging your wife's signature are serious offenses," she stated firmly. "The fact that you did this to benefit a known confidence artist makes your actions even more egregious." Marcus stood there in his now ill-fitting suit, a shadow of the confident man who'd once sneered at me in our kitchen. His lawyer had advised him to show remorse, but the damage was already done. 2 years probation, significant fines, and mandatory restitution, the judge announced. "You're fortunate your wife's evidence prevented the property transfer from being completed, or you'd be facing considerably more time." I felt a gentle squeeze on my hand. Emma sat beside me, having chosen to support me over her brother. She'd been my rock throughout the proceedings, especially after the full story of Amanda's past emerged. As it turned out, Amanda had successfully scammed 2 other married men before Marcus, convincing them to transfer property to her name before disappearing with whatever assets she could liquidate. She was now facing her own legal troubles in another state. Outside the courthouse, reporters gathered, eager to cover the fall of a once respected businessman. Marcus hurried past them, head down, while his mother shielded him from cameras. The family name he'd been so proud of was now associated with fraud and scandal. "Olivia," Emma called as I headed to my car. "Wait up." I turned to see her jogging toward me, her heels clicking on the pavement. "Mom wants to know if you'll still come to Thanksgiving this year," she said, slightly breathless. She says she was wrong about everything. "About you, about Marcus." I smiled gently. "Tell her I'll think about it." The family dynamics had shifted dramatically since Marcus's arrest. His mother, who'd once treated me with thinly veiled disdain, now couldn't stop praising my strength and dignity to anyone who would listen. That evening, I hosted a small dinner party at my house, decorated exactly as I wanted it now. Sophia, my lawyer, raised her glass in a toast. "To new beginnings," she said, "and to women who don't let anyone push them around." As we chatted and laughed, my phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. "Marcus, using yet another borrowed phone. I lost everything because of you." I showed the message to Sophia, who shook her head in disbelief. "He still doesn't get it, does he? He lost everything because of his own choices." I deleted the message without responding. Marcus had spent months blaming me, Amanda, his family, everyone except himself, for his downfall. Meanwhile, I'd rebuilt my life, redecorated my home, and even started dating again, much to Marcus's evident distress when he heard about it through family gossip. The doorbell rang. A delivery from the courthouse. Inside was my final divorce decree and updated property documents, officially confirming my sole ownership of the house. As I signed for the package, I remembered Marcus's smug face the night he thought he cleverly outmaneuvered me. Later that night, after my guests had left, I sat on my back porch with a glass of wine, looking at the garden I'd replanted. The old roses Marcus had insisted on were gone, replaced by vibrant wildflowers that made me smile every morning. Emma had texted one last update. Marcus was moving in with their parents, his assets frozen, his reputation in tatters. The company had officially terminated him after their internal investigation revealed he'd been using company resources to facilitate his affair with Amanda. "Remember when he used to say I was too stupid to handle our finances?" I texted back. Funny how things turn out. The night air was cool and fresh, carrying the scent of my newly planted jasmine. In the end, Marcus's attempt to discard me had led to his own undoing. He thought I was an easy target, someone he could bully and deceive. Instead, he learned that underestimating me was the biggest mistake of his life. I picked up my phone one last time, opened Marcus's latest message, and finally typed a response. "You're right about one thing, you lost everything. But that was your choice. not mine. Goodbye, Marcus. Then I blocked this number too, set down my phone, and looked up at the stars. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new opportunities, and new adventures. But for tonight, I was content knowing that I'd not only survived Marcus's betrayal, I'd emerged stronger, wiser, and completely free of his attempts to control me. The house lights glowed warmly behind me, reflecting off the windows that had witnessed both the end of my marriage and the beginning of my new life. Marcus had tried to take everything from me, but in the end, he'd only succeeded in showing me exactly how strong I could be. Sometimes I realize losing someone who doesn't value you is the greatest gain of all.